Hey you guys, I thought today I would do a video, and in this video I thought, due to the week that I've had, it's been pretty hectic, it's been pretty long and tiresome. Yesterday and this morning, I'm not going to go into the details of it, but I had a pretty tough day. And as I was meditating this morning and I was thinking on what our theme for the video should be, because honestly, you guys, with the week that I had, I haven't really given the theme much thought. Normally, I will think on it for a few days to a week, sometimes longer, just depending on, what, is put upon my heart by the goddess. And this week, honestly, my mind has been somewhere else. And I meditated this morning like I always do, but I kept thinking about, all the issues I had this past week. And for some reason, I kept thinking to myself, this has been a really hard week. And I always tell myself, when I go through a hard time or if I make a mistake, that it's not a mistake, that it's a lesson. And I was thinking, maybe there's something to be learned by all of this that I've experienced this week. And like I said, again this morning, I got up and there was an issue at hand I had to deal with, and I dealt with it. And I was thinking, I'm lucky that I can call upon my goddess when I'm in my time of need. And I'm lucky that I have the freedom to pray to her and to worship her and to give her gratitude. And I'm not going to say I necessarily do it in secret. I would more so say that I'm, halfway in and halfway out of the broom closet. And it's due to living in the South. A lot of people down here don't necessarily understand my way of life and don't understand the path that I have chosen, and most definitely don't understand my craft. And I've done little gatherings down here and tried to educate people, and I every chance I get to talk with someone a little bit about my craft, I do. But I don't necessarily go out there and advertise the fact that I'm a witch. But if I chose to do that, I have the freedom to do so. And I was thinking, with everything that I've endured this week, and especially the last 2 days, I was thinking that I am blessed when it comes to freedom of religion. And if you want to call my path religious or religion, but if you ask me, it's more of a spiritual path. And but I guess it would fall under the category of a religion, or more so if, it was Wicca practices. But anyway, you guys, I'm always trying to get sidetracked. You have to keep me straight. And I was thinking about that, and what came to mind was during the time of the Salem Witch Trials. And I'm no history buff by no means, but I do read, and I'm really big on educating yourself, and I love to learn. So, of course, at some point in my life, I read up on the Salem Witch Trials, and, I can't remember everything that I read, unfortunately, but I remember the gist of it. And I do know that it all started over a group of girls that seemed to be experiencing a type of hysteria, like a group hysteria. One child started exhibiting symptoms to the people of that time. They thought it was a possession of the devil. And not only did this one child, start acting in this way, but another child and another child, and before they knew it, it had spread like an actual disease. And of course, in those days, I think the year was 16. I've got a note over here. Yeah, 1692. The witch trials, the span of a year, which was 1692 to 1693, is when all of this took place. But it all started by this hysteria that these girls, started experiencing. And later on, over the course of many, many years, 300 to 500 years later, scientists think that they found the reason behind it, and it was due to some type of fungus that was growing in the rye. And back then, rye was the staple, you know product of that era. And they narrowed it down to this particular strain of fungus that was growing in the rye. And of course, the people of the village, of the town, they consumed this rye, flours and grain and different types of things. And for some reason, this fungus affected children more so. And the types of symptoms that came along with it was hallucinations and things of that nature, of a hysterical, actions, that they portrayed. And I'm grasping at words. It's been a rough week. And anyway, scientists narrowed it down to what they believe was this fungus that was found in the rye. But that one incident of those girls displaying these symptoms is what started the whole Salem Witch Trial. And, it's a very, very long, story to tell. And I'm not going to try to sit here and tell you the entire story, because I can't remember each and every detail that I've read on this. But like I said, I've got the gist of it. And what I wanted to, theme my video on was freedom of religion, or, the struggle of dealing with things and having the freedom to express yourself, in your spirituality, in your beliefs, in your craft, on the path that you have chosen. We have that freedom. And I was thinking, the fact that we have this freedom enables us to deal with things in a whole different light. And the what I'm hinting at is, when we have an issue, and when I say we, I mean people that practice the craft, witches, and people that have similar beliefs as myself when I say we. But we are lucky enough to have freedom to express ourselves, to, you know, I'm grasping for my words. You have to bear with me. Like I said, it's been really, really tough this week. But I was thinking, if I can get through these last 2 days especially, I'm thinking that I have so much to complain about, and I have, so much that has just went on, that has just like completely wiped me out and drained me emotionally, physically, spiritually. And I'm thinking, there were these people, and that's, it was people. It wasn't just women. It wasn't just men. It was even children that were accused of, practicing witchcraft. And back then, whenever they spoke of witchcraft, it was a crime. You committed a crime. But the sad part about it was, I would say, and this is just my opinion that I'm drawing, but 90% of these people that were being accused weren't even witches, did not even practice witchcraft. there were some that were. And the sad part about that was the ones that were witches, they openly, you know, admitted to it whenever they were being accused and whenever they went to trial because, like I said, this was a crime and these people went to trial, if you want to call it a trial, because a trial is supposed to be based on evidence and it's supposed to be weighing the options. You're trying to prove your innocence and they're trying to decide your innocence, but that's not how these trials took place. These court proceedings, they took place in a courtroom and there was a judge and that was probably it. The rest of it was not, handled in a legal sense of the, you know, word at all. These people were brought in, they were accused of what they called a crime, and, they were given the opportunity to speak, and there were things that they pointed out that these people said made them appear to be guilty, and some of the things that they said were the evidence were just hysterical when I read this. Some of the things that they used to accuse people of was if you had a birthmark, if you had any type of physical deformity, any type of cosmetic difference, like some people may have a cleft lip, for instance. Some people may be born with a blue eye and a green eye. Some people may be born with really, really pale blue eyes, just this almost crystal blue, and that's something you don't see very often. But if someone back then had, a uniqueness about them, oh my goodness, they were practicing witchcraft. If they had a speech impediment, they were a witch. If they had a mental disability, for instance, if they were bipolar, they couldn't control their emotions, if they had Tourette's, if they heard voices, if these things that, and I know back then the knowledge was limited, but, I'm sorry, I just can't believe that people are that ignorant and that blind. If they truly believed that witchcraft was so evil and so dark, they would have had other things to use as evidence against these people. They would have had things that they done, negative things, hurtful things, evil things, but it wasn't those types of things that they were, coming with accusations toward these people about. They were accusing people of witchcraft because they were left-handed, because they may have been gay, they may have been bisexual, they could have just had red hair, any and every little thing that stood out about someone, that was a reason to accuse them of witchcraft. And of course, women, they got accused more than the men and the children, but there was still no stopping. And the man that was behind all of this, he was deemed as some type of pastor or priest. And in my opinion, he was just, he was a sadistic torturer, a killer, and I guess, he was the one that was guilty of a crime, but that was the way justice was carried out in those days. And they said that there was, oh, I'm sorry, 50 documented cases of people that went to trial for witchcraft, and they there was, wait a minute, let me get my facts straight. There was 30 guilty and 19 put to death. I had to look at my cheat sheet, and that was just the documented cases. But as time went on, and people began to talk back then, it come to light that there were many, many more than that. And, they were saying then, when they, I guess you could say, edited their records, then it was that they had 150 people documented as being found guilty of witchcraft. And then as the years went on, back in 2011, they re-edited the numbers based on, court documents and testimonies and things like that they had, historical records, and come to find out there was tens of thousands of men and women and children that were accused, tortured, and murdered for practicing witchcraft. And like I said, 90% of these people were not even witches. These were just people that may have had, a mental defect. They may have had a physical deformity, a physical handicap. They could have just looked different. They could have had a scar. They could have had a mole, a birthmark. They could have had, just a quality about them that was different from everyone else. They could have been gay. They could have just talked different. They could have sounded different. They could have stuttered. They could have slurred their words. Any and every little thing that was different about someone, that was evidence to these people that that person was practicing witchcraft. And whenever they spoke of witchcraft, to them that was the absolute darkest, most evil thing that someone could do. That was, mere devil worshiping. You were a servant of the devil, and your purpose in the world was to kill, to steal, and to destroy. And that was absolutely the furthest thing from the truth. And I was thinking of this, all of these people, that were accused, and they were tortured, and they were murdered is what they were. And for the most part, they were hanged to death. And there were other ways, many, many other ways that people were killed, but hanging them was, that was their execution of choice, I guess you could say. But there was one particular man, and he was squished to death by a press. There was people that were, what is it called, drawed and quartered, where they tie each of their limbs and they connect it to a horse, and they pull, each horse pulls off in a different direction, and they literally dismember this person while they're alive. They drowned people to death. They burnt people at the stake. They tortured them in so many cruel ways with all these medieval torture devices that if I even tried to go into all of these ways, I wouldn't have enough time to finish my video. And it makes you wonder, who are the evil ones, the witches or the accused witches, or these preachers and pastors that was running this whole operation, these witch hunts, and I was thinking, about everything that I went through. And I guess the reason I thought about this was to remind myself it's not as bad as it seems, and that I have so much to be grateful for, and I should remember to, you know, put my gratitude out into the universe on a daily basis, even when things are going shitty. Be grateful. Call out to the goddess each and every day, and, just remind yourself that you're grateful. And, as I was thinking about these people who lost their lives, like I've did a little video a while back, and I shared with you guys that I recently lost my son. And, even though these people, they weren't all witches, they didn't even practice witchcraft, they knew nothing about it. These were just innocent souls that, something was different about them. There was little old ladies that went out and made tinctures and medicines and used oils and herbs and things like that, just, worked with things, of nature, just because they wanted to heal and help people. They were actually trying to do some good, and because they did it in a different way than everyone else, they were accused of witchcraft, and it just goes to show, that things aren't always as bad as we think they are. There's a time when we couldn't practice, our beliefs freely. We would have had to hide, and we would have had to hide for our lives just because of what we believed in our hearts. Even if we didn't physically practice and do spell work and things of that nature, just the fact that we were gifted with a second sight, or, we had a connection with nature, if we were, you know, just thinking or speaking, gratitude to the goddess, if we were just out gazing at the moon, just those little things that we take for granted each and every day, we could have lost our life. So we're very, very fortunate, and I have to remind myself, and I suggest that you do the same. Just like I said, these last 2 days have just been rough, and I got caught up in, everything that was going on, and I forgot to be grateful. I forgot to give gratitude. I was just so upset, and, you know, I was just consumed by everything that had fell upon my shoulders. And I just kind of forgot that it's not always as bad as it seems. And, we are blessed. We have many, many reasons to be grateful. Just like the little bit that I shared with you about the Salem Witch Trials. And like I said, if you get the time, please sit down and read up on it, because it's very interesting. It's heart wrenching. It's one of those things that when you read it, it will hurt you down to your spirit. It will break your heart. But you need to be educated, and once you start reading about something like this, it's almost like you can't stop, because you're taken aback by, how cruel humans can be. And the sad part is, the ones that are being so cruel and, taking lives for no good reason, that's who we are. We're humans. They're our brothers and they're our sisters, and they're the same as we are. So, educate yourself, and then you can educate others. And just remember, sometimes things are going to go bad, and sometimes, just like with me, I got up this morning, I was just so tired, I was just so drained. I tried to do some spell work, and I just couldn't do it. I was fumbling. I was just lost. I knew that I didn't have the energy I was, I wasn't in the right frame of mind. And then it dawned on me, I haven't been given gratitude, and I've been taking the fact that I'm free to choose. I have free will. I have freedom to believe what I want to believe. I have the freedom to follow my heart. And for a brief moment, I forgot that. And I just wanted to share this, bit about the Salem Witch Trials in hopes that if you're having a rough day or if you're having a rough week, that you'll do like I did and you'll realize that there's others that have had it much, much rougher, and that we just got to remember to be grateful. And as always, if you believe, you will receive. Much love, you guys. Bye.